Phoenix Suns are moving up in the West as their trip out east continues. Tonight in Boston, it's the Suns and Celtics who had a very heated game back in Phoenix in late January. A game that had 2 ejections, a flagrant foul, and 7 technicals. That sets the stage for the rematch here at TD Garden. Hi everyone, Tom Leander along with Scott Williams. Are you ready for some more drama?
Oh yeah, let's get it on.
The Suns, no drama. Back-to-back wins in overtime. Back-to-back game winners from Channing Frye.
Yeah, Channing Tatum, Frye's star of Public Enemy. He's Public Enemy #1 right now in Indiana as he delivered this long-range shot to beat the clock to win the game in overtime. Carried that up when he became Public Enemy #1 in New Jersey. The following night, same sort of situation. Suns needing a big basket. Pressure could either burst pipes or create diamonds, and Channing's Frye has sparkled on 2 consecutive nights.
The new Mr. Big Shot, and he called that hit that he had in New Jersey a very juicy shot. Phoenix Suns now have won 5 in a row on the road. We'll take our first time out here from Boston. Last time these two teams met in Phoenix in late January, emotions ran very high for the players and the coaches. We'll explain next. Suns take the first 3 games on the trip. Now a major challenge in Game 4 here in Boston, where the Boston Celtics, you know, Scotty, will be amped up. They were embarrassed in Phoenix in the first meeting between these two teams. A very emotionally charged game. We saw technicals, we saw ejections, we saw a lot of physical play.
Man, when 2 teams are really going out there and battling, competing hard, this is exactly what you got. Everyone wants to prove that they're a man on the court. I love that one by MP3, knocking Kevin Garnett's chin strap off. And then they're going after it some more here. Channing Frye says, hey, this guy's dirty. Put his foot right underneath me and make me twist my ankle. On top of that, he hits me down below the belt in the man area, and I'm going to get up and let him know about it. They go nostril to nostril, and everybody gets all flared up, and Doc comes out, starts talking about Alvin likes to talk too much, because Alvin called Kevin Garnett a little bit dirty, said he lost some respect for him. So I expect nothing more than the same thing here tonight. These guys are going to be out there battling from the opening bell to the end of the final horn. So it's another one of those good basketball games. Good brouhaha.
Yeah, and Alvin Gentry saying before this game, the 2 coaches are good. They were both just defending their own players. Channing Frye for Alvin Gentry, Kevin Garnett for Doc Rivers. It's always special when the Suns and Celtics get together, but this tonight here in Boston will be must-see TV. Suns and Celtics coming your way next on My 45. Phoenix Suns basketball, presented by Casino Arizona on My 45, is brought to you by the fast, reliable, secure, heavy-duty internet from Quest. Bud Light, it's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go. By Jack in the Box, where you can get anything on the menu any time of day. Goldberg and Osborne, the accident injury lawyers. By Diamondback Plumbing, 2 decades of complete plumbing service and repair. Casino Arizona, feel the wind. And by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Well, last night it was Bon Jovi rocking TD Garden. Suns and Celtics tonight here in Boston, where it is extremely windy and cold. Tonight's starting lineup sponsored by MidFirst Bank. MidFirst Bank is proud to be the official bank of the Phoenix Suns. Stop by MidFirst Bank today to get your Phoenix Suns check card. Starters for the Suns. You'll see the top 2 assist men in the NBA tonight. Steve Nash is #2. Rondo is #1. And maybe even the 2 best shooters in the league. And Nash and Ray Allen, though Steve is struggling on this trip with his shot. By the way, these 5 Suns starters are now 16-7. For head coach Alvin Gentry, over the past 2 seasons, his Suns have exploded coming out of the All-Star break. Last year, they went 23-6. This year, 4-0 following the break. Some of the players hung out in Phoenix during the break. Some, like Grant Hill, hit the Bahamas. Whatever, it worked. Now the starters for the Celtics. The home debut for the 2 newest Celtics, and Nenad Krstić and Jeff Green coming over from Oklahoma City. Green will come in off the bench. Krstić now is their starting center. Boston still without their 2 O'Neals, Shaq and Jermaine, still out with injuries. Their head coach, 7th year here in Boston, Doc Rivers, ejected in Phoenix in the second quarter by referee Steve Javie. had that little war of words with Alvin Gentry, and maybe doing his best coaching job this season amidst injuries and in-season trades. Doc and the Celtics still have the best record in the Eastern Conference. Here's tonight's APS power matchup. We'll look at the point guards, Nash and Rondo.
To the best in the game, for no doubt about it. Rondo is doing a great job with his assists. Obviously, he's got runners, steals, passing lanes, under the basket, stripping the basketball from the bigs. Averages 2.36 steals per game, rather, which is second in the NBA. And Steve Nash going against his grad assistant tonight. Must find his range from the outside, put some pressure on Rondo to have to guard him, and also keep Rondo in front of him on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, they talk about the big three in Boston. It's really the big four. He is the catalyst for this team. The youngster, Rajon Rondo, 25 years of age, but he struggled mightily in Phoenix in the first matchup. Went just 1 of 6 from the field, had 7 turnovers, very lackluster. The Suns won that game 88-71. Fewest points scored by a Suns opponent since March 2001. But remember, too, they were coming off a back-to-back situation. Had played late the night before in Portland. Time for tonight's Batteries Plus Power Keys to the Game. Batteries Plus, thousands of batteries for thousands of items. We start with Rondo's Roughnecks.
Yeah, you know, this guy's a phenomenal player, but it's not his 11 points that hurt you. It's his 12 assists. You can't let him get that ball below the free throw line. You got to make sure you keep him out, because all he does is find guys if he gets inside that painted area, and by pushing that basketball towards that basket. I mean, Pierce, 19 points a game. Allen, 17. Garnett's got 15 a game, and now you add Green and Murphy to that mix. He's got more weapons to try to throw to in the Boston Marathon. This has been a long 10-day trip for the Suns before it's all over with. The last practice was over a week ago. They started their last Eastern trip 3-0, but they lost their focus and their concentrations and details on the defensive side of the basketball, and they got a lot of trouble at the end of that trip. Must make sure that they concentrate here tonight, get this one first before thinking about getting home.
Well, you mentioned Murphy. That is Troy Murphy. Of course, the Celtics making the trade with Oklahoma City for 2 players, and then signing Troy Murphy, whose contract was bought out by Golden State. And Doc Rivers before the game saying he may throw Troy Murphy out there on the floor tonight against the Suns, so he could make his debut as a Celtic. Suns broadcast made available in high definition by Verizon. Rule the air. Check your cable or satellite listings for HD channels. Our officials tonight, Tom Washington, Eric Lewis, and Brian Forte from TD Garden. Celtics have won 5 of the last 6 games. The Suns have won 4 in a row, 5 straight on the road. And now Phoenix 4 games over 500, sitting in the 9th spot in the Western Conference. 1 behind number 7 Portland and number 8 Memphis, as we are up and away here from Boston. Alvin Gentry expects an early flurry from the Celtics. They have not had a home game for 2 weeks. Went 3-1 on their road trip. Robin Lopez was blocked from behind and rebounded by Kristich. 7-footer coming over in the deal from Oklahoma City, which sent Kendrick Perkins and Nate Robinson to the Thunder. Under the Celtics feeling like they lost a family member. KG spins past Fry and then hammered by Robin Lopez.
Yeah, he tried to put so much pressure on the middle of the back of Kevin Garnett. He spins off of that pressure, is able to get by Fry, and then Lopez has to come over and take the hard foul. You see, he's so determined on putting that forearm in the hand of the back and putting that pressure there. Garnett's able to spin off of that pressure. It's a nice job on the block there by Garnett. Fry's going to have to mix up the pressure and the footwork.
Yeah, before he was ejected in that game in Phoenix, Garnett played pretty well. It was really the trio of Ray Allen, Rajon Rondo, and Paul Pierce that struggled in Phoenix. They went a combined 9 of 29 from the field. The Celtics shot just 34% from the floor. I wonder if the Suns defense can turn that trick again.
Yeah, the Suns defense had a lot to do with it, but also the Celtics had a big matchup coming up against the Lakers the following their next basketball game. One part of their attention might have been on the Lakers and back to that finals replay of a year ago. So you would best believe the Celtics are ready for the Suns tonight after having won the last 3 contests versus the Celtics.
Into the corner, Vince Carter drills the 3. Suns needed that here early. A little bit of confidence. Rejected by Vince Carter. Nash defending Rondo. Kristich made the move on Robin Lopez, who went for the steal and paid for it. Suns really want to push the tempo. Carter will try 3 again. Down it goes. Back-to-back big shots by Vince Carter here early in the first quarter.
I think that day off yesterday did Vince Carter and his legs a world of good. He'd been kind of not shooting the basketball and not playing hard on both sides of the floor. After he had that big first quarter in Toronto, he's kind of been MIA, so it's nice to see him get off to an early start.
Ray Allen straight but strong. Last two games for Vince, his numbers 5 of 24 from the field, just 2 of 10 from three-point range. Going for another bucket, two-point variety. That was strong. And here comes Rajon Rondo. He loves to run, gives it up to Ray Allen, the new three-point king in NBA history. Finds Kevin Garnett. And Garnett playing with that sneer as he always does. We're tied up at 6. Nash, left-handed skip pass to Robin Lopez, who goes to that looping left hook.
Wow, great move that time by Lopez. He, like you say, takes that pick and roll down for that block. Allen came and did a nice job getting over and cutting him off, but no way he's going to stop the big man from delivering that lefty hook.
Ray Allen pumps in another. Averaging 17 points this season, shooting 50% from the field and 46% from three-point range. Of course, passing Reggie Miller, all-time three-point hits just a couple weeks ago. Go low block to Lopez, trying to face up. Now goes to the right-handed hook on Kristich. Grabs his own miss with one hand, and then hooked and fouled by Kristich.
Yeah, Kristich gave up on that play after the shot. Didn't block out Lopez, and sometimes the shooter knows exactly how he shot the basketball. And Lopez, knowing that shot was going to be a little short, works himself right back to the ball, snatches it out of the air. Uh-oh, the Suns turn it over.
There was some kind of offensive rebound by Robin Lopez. 9:35 to go here in the first quarter. Celtics come in 43-15, best record in the East. Kristich, pump fake, rolls around and off. Good box out from Vince Carter on Kevin Garnett.
Yeah, that's that face guard. See, I can't block this guy out. Just put my face and my chest right on his chest.
Vince looking for his third three of the first quarter, a little wide right. Rondo driving on Steve Nash, dips in for a pair.
That's where Rondo's at his best. Call it the Shamrock Shake, getting that basketball down towards that basket, going by the defender.
Electrifyingly quick, and then Steve Nash. And it looks like he may have tweaked his back on that shot. Right after the attempt, he grabbed his back, and Kevin Garnett off the pass from Paul Pierce, but we have to keep an eye on Steve Nash. A little worried on that awkward release on the reverse attempt. Gets into the lane, gets it over to Robin Lopez. There's that left hand again, boarded by Pierce. Celtics want to run, leading by 4. Kristich, very mobile for a big man, sent away by Rockin' Robin Lopez with a sweet swat.
Nice job by Lopez getting back in transition. He's down there on that low block. He shoots the hook, but he runs the floor, gets back defensively with the eraser.
Suns start 3 of 9 from the field, 5 of 8 for the Boston Celtics. Boston comes in the #1 field goal percentage team in the NBA. They're #1 in assists, #3 in steals defensively. Kevin Garnett right at the rim. And it's a 6-point Boston lead.
Well, this is not the start that Alvin Gentry wanted his team defensively. Celtics having their way of being able to get easy buckets. They get a steal on this trip.
The deflection, the run out, and the jam for Paul Pierce. 10-0 run for Boston. Let's see if Alvin Gentry calls a timeout. He will, with 8:09 to go. Things starting to slip away a bit here in the first quarter. The Suns anticipated this. A very amped-up Boston Celtics team looking for payback after being embarrassed in Phoenix.
Yeah, they've been on the road 6 games. Have to be back home in front of their home crowd. They got them energized, got them engaged in this basketball game. Always got to watch how you pass the basketball amongst these Celtics. They will turn it into 2 points the other way.
Boston 7 of 10 shooting from the field, 5 of those finishes right at the rim. They lead the Suns 16-8. Looking for quality, affordable health insurance? Text MyHealth to 839863 for an instant quote from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arizona. Back here with Scott Williams, and the Boston bench, Scotty, is depleted right now because of injuries. They're without Delonte West, their backup point guard. He's out with an ankle injury, and both O'Neals are out. Shaq with the Achilles. Jermaine has had knee problems all season long. Nash goes behind the back to Channing Frye. Out of the timeout for 3. Robin Lopez, another rebound with 1 miss. But we're going to get a loose ball foul, and it's going to go against Robin Lopez.
Yeah, Alvin Gentry's up complaining off that bench. But right now, I mean, this is you look at that bench, that's a pretty good-looking bench right there to have if you're Doc Rivers and having some weapons to go to. But Going back to this basketball game right here, Suns got to figure out a way to get some buckets inside. I mean, no points in the paint. And the Celtics have 5 field goals on either layups or dunks. Only outside shots by Garnett and Allen, the only 2 outside field goals that they have, and those were uncontested jumpers.
Rondo swings it over to Paul Pierce. Deep for 3, too strong. And Lopez all alone for the rebound. So the Celtics had Troy Murphy. They also tried to sign Corey Brewer. His contract was bought out. He was waived by the Knicks. Robin Lopez from Steve Nash. But Corey Brewer instead deciding to sign with the Dallas Mavericks, we're told. So as Doc Rivers was saying before the game, they're still looking to add 1, maybe 2 more players. That shot by Lopez, ending a 10-0 move by the Celtics, and poked out of bounds by Vince Carter. Phoenix Suns have won 8 of their last 10 games, 11 of 14, and Robin Lopez has been scoring in boatloads at times in this first quarter. He's been out there. He's been efficient as a scorer, and then giving way to Marcin Gortat. Looked like Garnett traveled, and there it is. Boy, move that pivot foot. It was pretty obvious with a delayed whistle.
Yeah, a little bit of a late call that time by Eric Lewis along that bench, but he did get it right. Switching the pivot foot before going up with a jumper, and Channing Frye with a nice job there, really meeting him at the point of attack.
Going back to Lopez, had 14 points in the last game against his twins Brook. 6 of 8 from the field. Nash manufacturing, flips it up and in.
That time he got that reverse spin to fall. Both of these point guards so good at assist-to-turnover ratio. You know they're going to take care of the basketball. Number 6 and number 7 in the league at over 3 assists per turnover.
That was the first field goal for Nash, and now Kevin Garnett already in double figures, hitting his first 4 shots to go along with a couple of free throws. Celtics up by 6. Suns 42% from the field. Nash finding Grant Hill. Corner pocket 3, absolutely for Grant Hill. That's his sweet spot.
Caught Paul Pierce ball watching that time. Steve Nash is going to love the high pick and roll situation. Figures that's a good way for him to be able to get by Ron and get in the lane, try to shoot 3 as shooters.
Third 3 for the Suns. The first 2 from Vince Carter. Kristich, he hits the floor hard. Robin, check that. It was Channing Frye who was hit upside the head as well when Kristich went flying into the lane.
Yeah, and he really got his neck twisted around. I think he's got a bit of a stinger. He's in some pain there between his neck and his shoulder area. Then he tries to come back to the basketball, and it looks like he takes an elbow upside the side of the noggin. Watch Kristich's right arm come and crash down onto the back of Channing's side of his head.
Gortat will come in for the Suns. He's going to replace Robin Lopez, and Channing Frye is going to try to stick it out. That was a massive shot to the neck. Lopez, 2 personal fouls, goes to the bench with 4 points here in the opening period. Grant Hill defensively on Paul Pierce. Working around now to Ray Allen. Still plenty of time on the shot clock. Rondo dumps it into Garnett. Grant Hill shows double team help. 5 on the shot clock. Garnett from Paul Pierce. That is just tremendous execution in ball movement from the #1 field goal shooting team in the league.
Yeah, they did a nice job really playing inside and then back outside, and with the dribble drive able to get the easy shot on the dish off.
And so patient as well. And now a whistle away from the play. It's going to be on Paul Pierce. That's the first on Pierce. And the second team foul committed by the Celtics here in the opening period. The Suns have 3 team fouls. So they'll take it out on the side. In a couple of games the Suns have had those Channing Frye game winners in Indianapolis and then at New Jersey. Well, if they could back those 2 games up with a win against the Boston Celtics. Suns winning here in Boston early last season. Stunning again, undefeated Boston team. Steve Nash unaware of the shot clock.
Yeah, and I was kind of unaware of it as well. And
I'll throw myself into that
I don't
as
think
well.
the bench was yelling for them that the shot clock was about to expire. Caught everybody off guard.
I think just about everybody associated with Phoenix did not see that. A rare mistake by Steve Nash, who also made one in New Jersey following Anthony Moore on a 3-point attempt. How about that? Delayed move by Rajon Rondo.
Yeah, caught everybody hedging that he was going to bring the ball off that screen back to the top of the floor.
Steve Nash flips it in the paint amidst traffic, heavy traffic for Nash. Second field goal And 22-17, 5-point lead. Rajon Rondo, who's really worked on that outside shot a couple summers ago, working with Mark Price to help perfect that 17-18 footer. Boston now 69% shooting from the floor. Gortat goes up and is fouled in the act. He had a huge game against the Celtics back in Phoenix. 19 points and 17 rebounds. Jeff Green will make his home debut here in Boston for the Celtics, coming over in the deal with the Thunder, and he'll hear it from his new home crowd.
Yeah, we saw that replay by Rondo. You see Channing Frye leaving the basketball and trying to get back and worried about Kevin Garnett, who's off to a red-hot start with 5 of 5 made field goals. It just never let Nash enough time to be able to square him back up. But you're right about Gortat. He's a key piece off of this bench, be able to match up with guys like Big Baby Davis and go out there and run Big Baby. He can beat him in transition. He's got better legs than Big Baby.
He talked about the strategy tonight against the Celtics. He said the Suns need to bring energy, play faster and quicker with rapid passing against the Celtics. And he knows this team very well. He and Vince Carter, Michael Petras, when they were with the Orlando Magic, had numerous battles with the Celtics. Pierce, as Grant Hill was leveled by a Glenn Davis screen into the corner. Missing everything was Jeff Green on his first attempt, and not even close was Glenn Big Baby Davis.
You better call out those screens for Grant because you want to keep him in this game for 48 minutes.
Check the dental work. After that screen, Vince Carter for 3. Rolls off by Gortat. Offensive rebound. Steve Nash fighting for the offensive board, and saved it to Kevin Garnett. Up ahead, it's Jeff Green. Takes it back from Pierce, stripped inside by Vince Carter, and Boston will still have it. Very versatile player. Jeff Green, who had some good years in Oklahoma City with Westbrook and Kevin Durant. A shocking trade for many people.
Well, you would think it would be a shocking trade with losing that big body, and Perkins is one of these guys that goes up against a guy like Dwight Howard, the Orlando Magic, or the big bodies that they have in Bynum and Gasol and the Lakers big bodies that they have. So it's interesting that they would give away a key piece. But I have always liked Jeff Green in his days in Oklahoma City. He almost was just as surprised that Oklahoma City gave away what they have, their big three, and Durant and Westbrook.
No-look feed, Rajon Rondo, dazzling pass to Paul Pierce. Rondo #1 in the NBA in assists. He has 5 to go along with his 6 points. Grant Hill off the glass, wouldn't drop, and now we're going to get a technical foul on Grant Hill.
Yeah, Grant was fouled on that shot as he went up by Rondo on the elbow, and he said a little too much over here in Washington, and he got teed up as a result of it. But I think he got his point across. He did a nice move, spinning off this contact by Rondo, and Rondo trying to recover, gets him right on the elbow as he goes up and causes Grant to shoot that thing a little further than he wanted as he tried to reload.
But Pierce misses the technical free throw.
That's justice. Say the ball doesn't lie, and when we're out there, when players are out there playing.
Yeah, it wasn't heavy contact, but just enough, especially when you hit the elbow on the release. It definitely changes the structure of the shot. 3:17 to go here in the first quarter. Celtics leading by 7. Suns finished that month of February 9-3, by far their best month of the season. And its second best record in February in the league. Glenn Davis to the left hand, rebounded by Jared Dudley back here in Boston. He went to college at BC at Boston College. He even visited the campus yesterday on the day off. Nash being defended by Green, who Kevin Garnett calls maybe the most versatile player he's ever been with. Baseline jump shot. Grant Hill spins out. And over to Garnett. He has 12 points and now a couple of rebounds for Garnett. Celtics out-rebounding the Suns 9-7 here in the first quarter.
And you got to get on the offensive glass. 2 offensive boards when you're shooting under 40%. You got to be able to pick that pace up.
Now this tempo playing right into the hands of the Boston Celtics. Suns want a fast-paced game, but this is turning into a game of execution, half-court offense for the Boston Celtics. And they are just dissecting the Suns' defense. 62% shooting from the field for the Celtics, who have 18 points in the paint.
All kind of buckets inside and dunks and layups. Got to do a better job walling up that defense. Make a play in the yard, that area between the free throw line and the painted area, all the way out to the three-point line.
want in Boston. The Suns shooting only 37% from the field here in the opening period. Suns basketball is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Give the gift of a destination with the Southwest gift card. Talked about the best records in February. The Suns finished that month with a 9-3 record. Nobody better than the Dallas Mavericks at 11-3, but the Suns joined by the Philadelphia 76ers. Their Doug Collins was named Coach of the Month in the Eastern Conference. And you had the Miami Heat and San Antonio Spurs also 9-3.
Yeah, they did it on the defensive side of the ball, and everyone knows the Suns can score points, but the defense has really picked up in the last 4 to 6 weeks, and it's showing into the victory column.
Well, when you play in Utah, you talk about death by execution, a team that was coached by Jerry Sloan, and the Celtics are executing here in the first period. Rajon Rondo, the pass is inside along with Kevin Garnett. These players have played together now for 3 or 4 years, and you can see that they are just in sync with each other, despite all the trades and changes.
Well, yeah, this core group that started this basketball game, they've been together for a while, and no one let any distractions from seeing their buddies going out of town worry them once they step between these painted lines.
Still waiting for the return of the O'Neals, Jermaine, and Shaq as Channing Frye let it fly. Another board to Pierce and another miss for the Suns. Now down to 35% from the field. Phoenix has missed their last 5 shots inside of 2 minutes to go here in the opening period. Suns are now 14-14 on the road, winning the first 3 on the trip. Rondo skip pass to Big Baby Davis. Bodying up was Gortat. Tough shot from Glenn Davis, who says his name should be in the hat for 6th man of the year.
Yeah, they got it all going right now. He forced him into a tough shot, spinning along that baseline. Really having to get his shoulders turned, having to eye that basket. He still knocked it down.
Troy Murphy making his debut for the Celtics here in the first quarter. He comes in out of that timeout wearing the number 30, 10th-year player out of Notre Dame.
I think part of the problem with the Suns, their first 2 field goals came on 3-point shots, and everybody thinks they're going to bomb away over the top of that defense, and they're not driving anything to the basket.
Pump fake by Jeff Green. Pull-up jump shot. That's where he's really improved his game, too. He can nail that from 17, 18 feet. Had a 37-point game earlier this season for Oklahoma City. 8-0 run for the Boston Celtics. Steve Nash on the fade. Cleared by Green. Rondo on the attack again. Suns now have missed their last 7 shots. He is a floor spreader. Troy Murphy, a career 39% three-point shooter. One season also averaged a double-double for the Indiana Pacers on the pass. There was a foul, and it will go on Paul Pierce. That's his 2nd foul.
2nd foul, team's 4th team foul, so it'll be side out of bounds. Chance for the Suns to be able to run a little clock, maybe even go for a 2-for-1 situation if they choose not to run some clock. They've had some quick hitting plays on the side out of bounds, but when you're down by 13 points, you want to get the best shot available. You're going to work on getting the second unit engaged in this game, give him a little momentum and some confidence. Steve Nash is just a point guard to do that.
Mass substitutions for Doc Rivers here at the end of the first quarter, trying to get some extra rest for his starters. Marcin Gortat from 12 feet. That shot has been so consistent. Ends an 8-0 move by the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, nice job by Steve Nash, too. And Marcin normally rolls on the high pick and roll. That time when he sees Nash penetrate, he pops the open area along the baseline, lets Nash get his 4th assist.
Since the All-Star break, Marcin Gortat averaging 16 points per game. Running the point now for Boston is their rookie out of Texas, Avery Bradley. Big Baby Davis inside. Jeff Green missed the layup, tipping. Final seconds, first quarter, and we are done with one here from Boston. A very good one to the hometown Celtics, who shoot 60% from the field. And they take the lead into the second quarter, 32-21 on the Suns.
Yeah, 11-point lead, 21 points for the Suns. Not what they've been doing on the first quarter on the road. They've had games where they had 35 and 33 to open the game, and have to figure out a way to get that ball inside like Nash did on that last possession.
Kevin Garnett hitting his first 5 shots of the game. He has 12 points, and you're watching Suns basketball presented by Casino Arizona. Phoenix Suns basketball presented by Casino Arizona is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Suns down 11 after the first quarter. They will need their bench to bounce back here in the second period, and that bench was terrific in New Jersey. Alvin Gentry, their head coach, knew they were walking into the eye of a storm with the Celtics team. Wanting a little payback for what happened in Phoenix, and the first home game for the Celtics in a couple of weeks. Suns begin the second quarter with Aaron Brooks out there along with Petrus, Dudley, Ward, and Marcin Gortat, and more points in the paint for the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, we're seeing the defensive lapses. Guys not paying attention to weak side players, and they're able to cut back door towards the basket.
20 points in the paint, 20 of their 34. Petrus. And that miss tumbles out of bounds, untouched.
But did you see that another long-range bomb? I'm not sure if they give him was credited for a 2 or a 3 on that one, but really not good. But look at our bench scoring going back to Monday. Gortat leading the way with 17, Ward 16, Petrus had 13, Dudley 11, and even Aaron Brooks, the new guy, he was able to knock down 2 3-point shots in that game. So it's fantastic effort. That's the kind of effort that they're going to need tonight.
A jump shot from Avery Bradley, 19th overall pick in the first round from Texas, where he was a teammate of Damian James, who we saw with the New Jersey Nets. The backup point guard now, Delonte West, out with a sprained ankle. West rolled that ankle in a team shootout a couple days ago while they were on the road. Here comes Jeff Green. All sorts of speed and takes it coast to coast.
That was impressive. I mean, he really turned and burned on that steal, got it all the way to the rim and the other end. Another inside basket. The Suns not able to get back in transition.
Also very ironic, too, as he was taken 5th overall by the Boston Celtics, traded to Seattle in that Ray Allen deal, and then he comes back here to Boston in the trade with Oklahoma City.
Nice to see those, knock down a jump shot right there. I wonder if at some point in time with all these backdoor cuts, if Alvin Gentry may go to his own defense, try to pack it inside, see what the Celtics can do over the top. They have not made a 3 tonight.
Green not close, tipped out by Troy Murphy. And his first game as a Celtic, fresh 24. All bench players on the court right now for the Celtics and for the Suns. That big body and snuffing him out is Jared Dudley. Solid block from Dudley inside on Big Baby Davis. Petrus for 3. Couldn't get an offensive rebound to Hakeem Ward. Back with a hoop and an offensive board. Coming in here in the second quarter, Dudley trying to create. Taking it away is Davis.
I like that offensive rebound, but if nothing's right available right away, maybe come back and reset the offense. Alvin Gentry won't be upset with that play, but could have gotten something better, I think, if they had reset.
They'll go back to Jeff Green. Boy, he is tearing up the Suns here in his home debut.
And the problem is these bench guys, especially the new guys, when they're up by 17 points like they are now, they all can play loose and free, and that basket gets to be big, the size of a hula hoop, and they are filling them up.
And now a 17-point lead for the Celtics. Jeff Green in Boston Green now has 6 points. The Suns by 17. The Kia card is brought to you by Kia Motors, proud partner of the Phoenix Suns. And tonight we take a look at one of my heroes, Scotty, Alvin Adams. He is here in Boston tonight, now Vice President of Facility Management at U.S. Airways Center. His rookie season was a magical one for the Suns. He was the NBA Rookie of the Year as the Suns made it all the way to the 76 finals against the Boston Celtics. Surprising, only one All-Star appearance for Alvin Adams, and that was his first year. Spent 13 years with one team, was born in Lawrence, Kansas, and went to Oklahoma. Explain that one to me.
How did Kansas let him get away?
But he's a career 50% field goal shooter. Not bad for a 6'9" jump shooting center who had to battle bigs defensively every night like Kareem and Artis Gilmore, Moses Malone. Marcin Gortat goes in for this stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's what I wanted to see. Some points inside. The Celtics are having their way inside. Nice to see the Suns players go inside, throw one down on top of Davis's head.
6 points for Gortat coming in off the bench. By the way, Alvin is here tonight with some Suns staffers, Chris Mallory and Megan Gallegos, chaperones for the Southwest Airlines Art Contest winners. Number of 7th graders from the Phoenix area. Murphy is fouled from behind by Michael Petrus. Troy Murphy agonized over his decision, whether it would be the Miami Heat or Boston Celtics, but for Murph, it had to be Boston. That only makes sense with a name like Murphy.
Yeah, he looks like he fits in perfectly up here. And one thing I just can't figure out, though, is how these Celtic players continually get open on these backdoor cuts to the basket.
Now, Murph has not played much this season. He battled some injuries, back and foot problems in New Jersey, and then early January came to an agreement with the team saying he might as well just stay at home. That's a team with a youth movement. They tried to trade him and finally did after his old team, the Golden State Warriors, who then immediately bought him out of his contract, and then he was free to negotiate around the league. And down to Miami and the Celtics, and here he is in green. 41-25, 8.5 to play until halftime. Aaron Brooks on the floor for the Suns. Hakeem Ward, too deep. Aaron Brooks, who has only had one shoot-around practice with the Suns so far. And that came today. Von Wafer from deep, missed everything. A big whiff.
Yeah, he would like to have that one back, especially if some of his buddies and get on him after the game. Probably saw him launch that one up. I saw him shooting before the basketball game. He's got a rotation that's going to make his shot inconsistent. It doesn't have a proper spin on the basketball. And they're going to have to try to straighten that out over the next couple seasons.
Keeps that left hand high on the basketball for that strange rotation you talked about. He actually played in Greece, Von Wafer did, last season with Josh Childress. And tripped up is Petrus. Let's see, it was Jeff Green, but Jeff Green looks like he may have gotten the worst of that exchange between the two players.
Yeah, that's one of those situations where Petrus just doesn't want to shoot any more jump shots. He needs to get something going to the basket. He sells Green on a jump shot, got Green in the air. Petrus is able to lower that shoulder right down into his groin area.
Yeah, it might have been what you call the man area for Jeff Green. Shot clock is down to 5. Jared Dudley takes it down Main Street and earns a ticket to the line. Sign up for My Suns Mobile, powered by Verizon. Get text messages with breaking Suns news, special offers and promotions. Visit suns.com for more information. And it was Jared Dudley who tweeted out earlier today after the Suns shoot-around. They were going to take Channing Frye to a local sporting goods shop in order to get a protective cup. Maybe they should have gotten one for Jeff Green as well.
Yeah, well, you know, Channing Frye will try to go out there and battle as best he can, regardless of what happened in the previous game. But Green's going to have to come out of this one. They're going to get Allen back in. He's struggling to walk that off. So we know how tough that can be. But hey, one thing that's good about the Suns' second unit, you see now they're starting to attack inside. You're down by the large margins. You can't get it all back at once. You can't figure I'm going to hit a bunch of threes and get us back in this basketball. You got to chip away at that large lead. Just get some momentum going into the halftime break.
Avery Bradley is not shy. In the last game in Utah against the Jazz, a Celtics victory to end their road trip, Avery Bradley played 6 minutes, took 6 shots. Aaron Brooks deep for 3, and down it goes for Aaron. Had 2 in Jersey, and now his 3rd as a member of the Suns.
He's got a nice shot. He got a great pick that time by Gortat. Gave him room to be free to fire.
8 points in the 4th quarter at New Jersey for Aaron Brooks. And a couple of threes and a pretty floater. Reversal for Ray Allen. Hit the 3 and drive in for 2. A guy can still do it all at the age of 35.
His wheels are still pretty good, allowing him to be able to drive that baseline. Much younger basketball players.
10-time All-Star Ray Allen. Michael Petrus drains a 3. Good ball movement from Aaron Brooks. Wow, doing his best Steve Nash impersonation.
Just when I say the Suns need to go inside for buckets, lo and behold, they hit 2 in a row. They're 5 for 10 from behind the arc.
And then the follow crush from Glenn Davis. Nobody put a body on the big body of Glenn Davis, 295.
Yeah, right.
4th-year player out of LSU. They actually have 3 LSU Tigers on their roster. You talk about Shaquille O'Neal and also a player that they just picked up out of the D-League, and Chris Johnson. And coming in now will be Kristich, who started at center. Playing here in Boston now. Spent 4 years in New Jersey with Lawrence Frank as his head coach. Frank, by the way, an assistant now for the Celtics. Is Aaron Brooks going to help manipulate this shot for Michael Petrus.
Doesn't that remind you of what Steve Nash does? He likes to get that penetration to the basket, get those wing defenders to come back towards that painted area, and then fire a strike right to where a guy likes to be able to catch and shoot. So, that's what I'm talking about, Alvin Gentry now, knowing that he's not going to have a whole lot of drop-off when Nash goes to the bench. He actually has gone back to Nash quite early in this basketball game than he's more accustomed to, but with the large deficit and the day off yesterday, realized Nash may have enough to finish.
Gortat taking the feed from Steve Nash, and he drills it. Marcin Gortat having a stellar first half, 8 points, 3 of 4 shooting from the field, and he's also checked in with 5 boards.
This is where I want to see the Suns try to get some more ball pressure on this side of the floor. The Celtics are having their way moving themselves in the ball with little impediment. As you see Big Davis using his big frame right there, and left shoulder turns to his right hook. They only have 1 turnover for the Celtics. Got to get more pressure on the ball.
Davis closing out on Channing Frye. I would think Channing would be able to take him out past that 3-point line. Celtics' biggest lead has been 17. The ball jarred loose. 9 seconds on the shot clock for the Suns, and we'll get a timeout here with 5:35 to go in the second quarter. The Phoenix Suns have won 3 straight over the Celtics, trying to make it 4 in a row, trailing by 13. But Marcin Gortat doing his job here in the first half.
Coming off the bench in a big way. I love this right here. A little penetration. The big man shows he can step out and shoot the ball.
Suns 5 of 10 at 3-point shooting, but shooting only 36% from 2-point variety. Tonight's text poll question, powered by Verizon, is which of the following was the dirtiest play against a Suns player? Was it Karl Malone flooring Sox Elliott Perry, KG's Mitch Kupchak on Channing Frye back in Phoenix, Robert Horry's hip check on Steve Nash in the playoffs, or J.R. Reid's dental work on AC Green, which jeopardized his consecutive games played streak? But AC Green played on with the mask. Text your choice to 88222 and stay tuned for the results throughout the game. Normal messaging rates apply. There's KG and Channing Frye. Clean so far, and a clean look for Frye. In and out, and down it goes for Channing, coming in out of that timeout.
Yeah, nice quick hitting play that time. They've used Channing Frye in a couple different areas. Obviously, the 2 game winners off of step-back screens. That time they could have screened from letting roll right down to the ball.
First field goal for Channing Frye. No Sun starter has more than 2 field goals in this first half. Long rebound out to Gortat. That's his 6th pull down.
He is so big every night. He's probably the most consistent player off of that bench.
Petrus trying to back down on Ray Allen. And we're going to get a foul on Allen of the Celtics. Grant Hill will return for the Suns. Let's see who he comes in for. It, I believe, is it going to be Petrus? Nope, it'll be Jared Dudley. The Suns will have Hill and Petrus out there with Frye, Gortat, and Nash trying to slice into the Celtics lead. Here you see the 3-point shooting versus the 2-pointers for the Suns. It's 9 of 23 inside the line. Shot clock at 5 for Petrus. Cut off by Garnett. Down to 3, down to 2 for Grant Hill. He'll come up short and boarded by KG. This is an excellent defensive team, number 1 in fewest points allowed, 91 points per game, given up by the Celtics on average. Spin fake, Garnett takes it in. That was an excellent move.
That was a good move down there. Kevin Garnett's really feeling it here in this first half.
6 of 6, 14 points. Nash, deep for 3, absolutely for Steve Nash. Comes right back for the Suns and makes it a 10-point game.
Well, that's good to see. Nash, we had talked about his struggles on this trip, 0 for 10 from the land of 3. Finally gets his first one since we left Phoenix last Thursday.
There's a spinning Kristich. It was sideswiped by Grant Hill. But the Suns will throw a double team at you, but then Boston with that execution and the crisp passing, finding the open man, and 2 free throws coming for Nenad Kristich, a 27-year-old out of Serbia.
Yeah, this is something Gortat's really good at. Once you saw him free up Aaron Brooks for 3 to fire, and then that time Steve Nash. He's got such a, he's 7-footer first, and he gets him really wide when he sets a pick. It makes it hard for the guards to get around and recover. It allows them that extra half second. And that's all a good shooter like Steve Nash needs to knock down a shot.
That's the first 3-pointer for Steve Nash on this road trip. His shooting had gone sideways coming into this game. First 3 on the trip. Nash was 10 of 39 from the field, 0 of 10 from far away. But he said the good thing is his worst shooting slump, yet the Suns won all 3 games. Petrus, offensive rebound. Pump fake, trying to draw the contact, and now a 3-second lane violation on, I believe, Petrus. Well, the defensive presence of the 7-footer Nenad Kristich forced him to throw it out, and he didn't clear the lane.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because he went high and grabbed that rebound. I think had he pump faked the first time and then gone up and just tried to draw the contact, he might have got the whistle. But He's working hard down there.
Rondo created for Kristich. Blocked from behind by Channing Frye. Ray Allen from the corner. And another rip for Gortat. He has been a human vacuum. Petrus being defended by Rondo. Suns like that matchup. He'll go inside, slapped away by Rondo. Rajon is a very good defensive player, #2 in the league in steals. First team all defense last year. Even in a matchup where he's given up 20 to 25 pounds like he did to Petrus.
That was a nice foul that time by Gortat in transition here. He's such good at ripping that basketball away. We talk about the 2.3 steals he gets, which is second in the NBA. And then Gortat, not allowing the transition bucket, takes a foul. It was only the third team foul for the Suns, so no free throws will be side out of bounds. So smart play by Gortat, using his foul situation and only being his first personal foul, the Suns' third team foul.
Very interesting. Marcin Gortat, 8 rebounds. Combined the Suns starters with 4. Now remember, Boston was not missing early in this game. They were shooting nearly 70% early in the contest. Garnett is still a perfect 6 of 6 from the field. And Gortat will pick up his second personal foul, tripping up Rajon Rondo.
Yeah, well, the first foul was good. This one maybe not so good, but Rondo's very crafty at being able to get underneath the bigs' bodies there and almost forcing that foul, if you will. Not wanting Gortat to get his third foul before the half. He'll get substituted for. They'll bring the starter Lopez back in the game. But this is a good opportunity, excuse me. This is a good opportunity for the Suns to make a little mini run here. A little 8-2 run, you know, something like that, 10-4. Try to get this game back under control.
With 3 minutes to go until halftime. Channing Frye was right there defensively, and then Garnett banks it home straight away, hitting his first 7 shots. Gortat going to the bench with the 2 fouls, 8 points, 8 rebounds for Marcin in the first half. Channing Frye spins left. He had Garnett to his right, Kristich to his left, and he earns a ticket to the line. And for Nathan Kristich, that's his second personal foul. When we come back, a couple of free throws coming for Channing Frye. Celtics' first home game in a couple of weeks. The home debut of some of the newest Celtics. They came out strong. Suns trying to answer here late in the first half. 16 for Kevin Garnett. Celtics outscoring the Suns 20-18 so far here in the second quarter. As we find out what's on tap for the Suns, sponsored by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Get to the game for exciting Suns basketball when your Suns host Goran Dragic and the Houston Rockets when they come off this road trip. That's Tuesday, March 8th. Then it's the Denver Nuggets on Thursday, March 10th. Great seats, great prices still available. Get your tickets at suns.com/TV tickets. Or call 1-800-4NBA-TICKS. These Celtics making some moves at the trading deadline, Scotty. Danny Ainge, their general manager, the former Suns coach and player, rolling the dice, moving 5 players in one day, even though the Celtics had the best record in the Eastern Conference. Jeff Green, Kristich, Troy Murphy, and you see traded away Perkins and Nate Robinson going to Oklahoma City, Herangati and Erden to the Cavaliers, and Marquise Daniels was sent to Sacramento.
Yeah, I think he felt like maybe he might put himself in a tough position with Perkins, who actually signed a contract today through 2015, $38 million deal. So he got some money down there, even though he has not even played for the Thunder yet. And he didn't want to run into a situation where all of a sudden it became a contract issue.
Doc Rivers was saying before the game, too, he talked to Kendrick Perkins today and actually asked him for a loan. So it's still getting along after the trade. Perkins now happy to be in Oklahoma City after the initial shock. But many people feeling that he was irreplaceable on this team, part of the fabric of the Celtics with his toughness and being the enforcer inside. And now he takes that toughness to Oklahoma City. Grant Hill on the drive along the baseline. Robin Lopez knocked it out, but Paul Pierce retrieves, and now up ahead. Ray Allen from Rondo got the 3. Ray Allen passing Reggie Miller when he hit career three-pointer number 2,651 a couple of weeks ago. Drills the 3 there. Nash went for the rebuttal. Instead, Celtics trying to add to their 14-point lead. Celtic fans sensing blood. Kevin Garnett, 8 of 9 shooting, 18 points.
Well, the exact opposite of what we wanted to happen is starting to happen for the Celtics. They're going on a run of their own, and when the Suns needed to make a run to cut into that deficit, the Celtics are pumping up their lead.
KG just possessed in this game. I'm sure he was not happy with what transpired back in Phoenix. Neither is Doc Rivers, who didn't even get to see the second half when he was ejected in the second quarter. Now the lead is up to 16. Biggest advantage has been 17 here in the first half. Nash wide open, lines it up. Ooh, can't connect. He's going to hit that 9 times out of 10, and the long outlet pass goes untouched out of bounds. And for Boston, that is just their second turnover in the first half. The Suns have committed only 5. There are no points off of turnovers yet in the first 2 quarters. Lawrence Frank up here screaming at his Celtics defense. He's the new defensive coordinator now for Boston after Tom Thibodeau took over as head coach in Chicago. Robin Lopez trying to back in on Paul Pierce. Grant Hill has it, met by Kristich. Good team defense from the Celtics. Channing Frye hits just backboard, and the shot clock blows up on the Suns. You know, Doc Rivers was talking about the team defense and the concepts, how Jeff Green not very good at it yet. Nated Kristich is picking it up quicker than Green, and you could see it on the rotation defensively on that possession.
Yeah, they swarm into that basketball. Cutting off mental penetration has been a trouble for the Suns in the first half of this basketball game. Even when they cut off the middle guy, it seems like they're very quick to close out on the shooters as well. Very impressive defensive start for the Celtics.
You know, I mentioned the connection, too, between Lawrence Frank and Kristich. Frank coached him in New Jersey with the Nets for 4 seasons. 57-41. Boston has been in control of this game since the opening tip. Nash on an island with Rondo. They're leading that shot clock inside of 10. Ball fake, baseline jump shot hoisted up, comes up short for Glenn Davis. 30 seconds to go here in the half. Stick around, Kevin Ray, Tom Chambers back in Phoenix with the halftime show. Rondo with the pick of Steve Nash, and then the pair at the other end. And now we're going to get a technical on Steve Nash. We've already had one on Grant Hill, and now the Suns' other captain, Nash, who felt he was fouled by Rondo on that last exchange. Very frustrating first half for Nash, Hill, and Alvin Gentry along the entire Suns team. Largest lead right now for Boston. Allen hits the technical free throw. 8-0 run for the Celtics to close out this first half.
Yeah, see, Nash gets kind of manhandled there by Rondo. He's all over his hip, and it causes, first he has 2 hands on him right there, then he switches to one hand reaching in there and scratching him from his elbow all the way down to his wrist. That's much harder to protect the basketball if a guy's allowed to do that.
That is a big-time reach-in on Rondo, who has a 6'10" wingspan and huge hands, which is why he's so good defensively and led the NBA in steals last year, currently 2nd in the league. Jeff Green defending Nash. They go to Grant Hill. 5 seconds to go. Grant double-teamed. He was sandwiched by Green and Avery Bradley, and free throws coming for Grant.
Well, that's what you need. I mean, more of that type of basketball is say, okay, regardless of what you want us to do, we're not going to do it. Even if it means taking on 1.5 and sometimes 2 defenders, we're pounding this thing inside.
That has been Alvin Gentry's Suns who have been pounded here in the first half after winning in Phoenix by 16 points, holding the Celtics to 71 points in Phoenix. And Boston has 60 already here in the first half. Well, the Thursday, March 10th home game against Denver will no longer air on TNT. Tune in to Fox Sports Arizona Plus at 8 p.m. for Suns Live, then watch the Suns and Nuggets at 8:30 p.m. Check local listings for Fox Sports Arizona Plus channel locations. Tip-off is still scheduled for 8:30, but will now be televised on Fox Sports Arizona Plus. A programming note for you as TNT dropped that broadcast, and this 20-second timeout brought to you by Dial Complete. Defend yourself against germs this season. Now game number 4 on the road trip. Next up for the Suns will be in Milwaukee Friday, and then close it out against Oklahoma City on Sunday. Milwaukee on Friday will be an interesting game. Andrew Bogut is out, has a rib cage muscle pull, and interestingly enough, Milwaukee, to replace Bogut, at least on a 10-day basis, just signed former son Earl Barron.
Oh, the Barron's
we'll
back.
see Earl on Friday. 60-42. Grant Hill with 3.6 to go. Trying to end an 8-0 run by the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, he knocked that first free throw down, and Doc wanted to utilize everything. I think he got that 20-second timeout to try to set up the last second play here and make sure the Suns get back defensively in transition.
This is the second free throw. Rondo on the move. Did it beat the buzzer? It's going to be awfully close. It looked good from our vantage point. I think it will count for Rajon Rondo. A microcosm of the first half for the Phoenix Suns. Rondo now with 10 points, 7 assists, and the buzzer beater, it appears, to end this first half.
Anything that could have gone wrong for the Suns did on the offensive side of the basketball. They gave up too many points in the paint off of floaters and dunks. And defensively, offensively, they can't figure out a way to attack that Celtics defense that's cutting off the middle.
So if indeed the shot counts, it will be a 10-1 run for Boston to end this first half. Stay tuned for the Toyota halftime report. Kevin Ray and Tom Chambers back in Phoenix. You're watching Suns basketball presented by Casino Arizona. Phoenix Suns basketball is presented by Casino Arizona and brought to you by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arizona, offering health plans with choice, flexibility, and service. For information, visit azblue.com/score. A dominant first half for the Boston Celtics. Welcome back here to Boston with director Dan Siekman, producer Bob Adlock, John McCann, and Eddie Dean in the truck. 20-point lead, biggest for Boston after that shot by Rajon Rondo to end the first half. So in Phoenix, when these two teams met, Boston compiled 71 points. They have 62 already here tonight, and defensively shutting down the Suns' offense.
Yeah, they're really doing a good job on the defensive side of the basketball. They're doing a lot of the hustle stats, too. Suns aren't going inside, but points in the paint, they're at a -28. They have 0 second chance points, and they're -10 on fast break points, so they're not getting out in transition, getting anything going there. On the defensive side of the basketball, Kevin Garnett and the starters are just having their way. They've outscored the Suns starters by 20 points. The bench has actually played an even, obviously 17-17, and done a better job on the glass, but it's that starting unit. They got to figure out a better way. Doing a good job on Paul Pierce, but it's Rondo getting inside for penetrations. He's got 7 assists, and most of those have been to Kevin Garnett, where, like I say, shooting 8 of 9 from the field, most of them on dunks and layups.
As we go inside the box score with Jack in the Box, where you can get anything on the menu any time of day. Marcin Gortat, 8 points off the bench with 8 rebounds, but the Suns offense only mustering 37% shooting from the field after the first 2 quarters. If you look at the Suns benches, Gortat with the 8 and 8, 17 points off the pine for the Suns, 17 for the Celtics bench, as well as Glenn Davis chipped in with 8. And a quick foul to begin the second half. It will go against Vince Carter. It started this game strong with a couple of 3-pointers. Vince had 6 points. It was all the scoring we had from him in the first half. 20-point lead for the Celtics. They come in with the best record in the East. They are 1 game ahead of Miami. Last year winning 50 games, making it all the way to the finals, losing in Game 7 in Los Angeles to the Lakers. Doc Rivers saying it was the most painful game he's ever experienced. Kevin Garnett comes out of the locker room still burning up. 20 points for KG. Channing Frye, meanwhile, 1 of 4 in the first half for the Suns. The guy who hit the game winner in the last 2 for the Suns in overtime. Grant Hill with the stick. He is 2 of 7 shooting, 6 points now for Grant.
And nice to see Grant power that ball to the basket. It took some doing, but he got it below that free throw line, giving the Suns some more points in the paint. Finally in double digits now.
Suns coming off that overtime win a couple of nights ago in New Jersey against the Nets. The overtime win on Sunday afternoon. Krstić dips in on Robin Lopez. A finesse move by the 7-footer from Serbia.
I mean, do you see the same thing I see, a lack of practice time? I mean, this is hard to prepare your team when you're on the road like this. You don't have many opportunities to get in the gym, but simple moves like up and unders and not rotating defensively out the shooters and getting beat on backdoor cuts.
Home debut for Nenad Krstić. Grant Hill lost it on the way up after bouncing off of Paul Pierce. Remember, Grant Hill and Steve Nash each picking up a technical in the first. Ball fake Rondo over the shoulder pass to Krstić, and he's fouled by Robin Lopez before the block from behind from Frye. A very mobile Nenad Kristic, drafted to the NBA by the New Jersey Nets, spent a couple more years in Europe before going to New Jersey, then left the Nets to play in Russia before signing with Oklahoma City a couple years ago.
Yeah, smart basketball player, once with the up and under, and that time just a simple ball fake, gets the bigs to bite and ends up going to the free throw line. I like this game in New Jersey. I wondered that New Jersey had given up on him a little bit early, but he did have some injuries there, and maybe they were a little weary that he'd be the same player afterwards, but this guy's got some skills. And I think he's got some good basketball left in him. It's a nice pickup.
He has some unique skills. He can actually throw chairs as well. We found that out during the World Championships. Unfortunately, in Turkey, there was a game between Serbia and Greece, a chair throwing incident involving Nenad Kristic, who actually spent a night in jail.
He said the chair started it.
24-point lead. Vince, deep three, absolutely for Vince Carter.
Well, I think we talked about him early, knocking down a couple threes, saying it'd be nice to see him get himself going. He hasn't had any real big scoring games and only just a really big first quarter in Toronto. He has to try to put some things together here for the Suns need his scoring, along with Nash to make some outside shots. That backcourt has struggled on this trip.
Yeah, the struggles of Vince Carter shooting in New Jersey, just 2 of 10, but he's had a good defensive trip so far. 9 steals for Vince in the first 3 games on this road trip. Of course, 6 of the 9 steals came in the first one against his former team, Toronto.
I think he's very active going against his former team. And you would like to hope that it's going to give him some momentum for the entire trip, but we just haven't seen it out of the North Carolina Star. Actually, the North Carolina Tar Heels are in a dogfight right now against Florida State. Maybe that's got him somewhat concerned.
A lot of well-preserved players on both teams. We talk about Vince, who's 34. Kevin Garnett comes up short. Of course, Shaq, who is out with the Achilles injury, is 39. Oldest player in the league, Grant Hill, 38, gives it to Robin Lopez. Fouled on the way up, and a couple free throws coming for Robin. Steve Nash is 37, Ray Allen's 35, KG's 34, and Pierce 33. Some of those well-preserved players on the floor as Kristic picks up his 3rd personal.
Most of those guys that you mentioned have done a really good job of keeping the weight off. Take care of their body with their nutrition and hiring personal trainers in the offseason as well.
Well, Doc Rivers was talking about an aging Celtics team, saying they are the only team with players eligible for the All-Star and Legends game. They had 4 All-Star reserves this year, matching the Detroit Pistons of 2006. Tonight's game brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com.
I was looking for Shaq down on that Celtics bench, and I haven't seen him down there. I wonder if he's going to come out here in the second half, but I know he is in the building.
More work around the cup for Kristic, tipped in by Kevin Garnett. We saw the shot of Doc Rivers, too. He thought about walking away after last season, that disappointing finish in Game 7 against the Lakers, but decided to come back.
How do you leave this talented group? That shouldn't even be a thought.
Well, they had a couple of free agents, too, in Ray Allen and Paul Pierce, and they re-signed both of those players in the summer to give this group another shot at it, another shot or 2.
Yeah, you know, the way they're playing tonight, you would think they'd have at least a 3-year run left in them.
KG going one-on-one against Channing Frye. 11 of 13 now for Kevin Garnett from the floor. 24 points. He had some huge games against the Suns when he was with the Minnesota Timberwolves. A 47-point game and another 44-point outing against the Suns. Back comes Grant Hill. He has 8.
Grant's come out fighting. We just got to get a few other guys that want to join that fight, especially down the defensive end. There's a poke away. Now let's see a transition basket. Even a secondary break would be nice.
Hill lobs it up for Robin Lopez, and it pops out.
I would have thought Robin would have put his head down and bowled his head right to the basket. You know, give him some of that floppy hair and just take it right to the hole, but he showed for the jumper that rattled out.
What a sensational pass from Rajon Rondo. There are times where he is every bit as creative with his passing as Steve Nash. Top 2 assist men in the NBA right now. Rondo number 1 at 12 assists per game. Nash number 2 at 11. Look at this pass.
You know, if you turn your back, and that time Channing Frye gets getting caught between wanting to stay with Garnett, who's been torching the Suns, and then not coming over to fully rotate and pick it up. Kristic that rolled down the lane as Lopez was not able to get back in front of that pass. But I understand Frye not wanting to get off ball too much and help out when Garnett's going as well as he does, but you got to protect the basket first.
Paul Pierce had a great description of Rajon Rondo, saying he is a mix of Jason Williams with his flashy passing, Tony Parker with his speed and the drives, and the defense of the glove Gary Payton. 25 years of age, Rajon Rondo. Kristich hitting the 2 free throws off the Rondo feed. Grant Hill puts it on the floor, goes for the crush. Couldn't put it down, and here comes Paul Pierce the other way. He puts it in with the left, fouled him down. I'm not sure that was necessary. Channing Frye went for the block. Paul Pierce got the dunk and then glaring at Channing Frye.
Well, this is Grant taking the ball hard to the hole. I don't know if there's any contact up top. It certainly looked like some lower body contact. And then Channing Frye comes over, tries to challenge that shot. It's a nice play by Frye. Pierce will knock that one down, and rightfully so. I think there was a little too much by Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce together. Too much showmanship and really making Channing Frye kind of the butt of their little joke here in the Boston Garden. And referees teed him up and sent Steve Nash to the line.
7 technicals between these two teams in Phoenix, and now the third. Nash and Grant Hill each picked one up in the first half, and then the tee with a stare down from Paul Pierce.
Yeah, stare down and Garnett. We talked about him. He can get a little sideways at times. His canary flies off of his perch, and I think that Pierce wasn't going to go over and do anything. I think he dumped on him and had an opportunity to go to the line, and he should have just left it alone at that.
Nash hit his technical free throw, and then Paul Pierce completes the 3-point play. Lopez, comes up short, missed everything. Oh boy, he is so upset with himself right now.
Well, see, these are a lot of things, the little jumper that he had where he could have powered it to the basket and he kind of missed that one. But these are a lot of things that even on the offense, the defensive end, we see the lack of practice. But even on the offensive end, all these little touch things that they do with their big man coaches and against one another in practice, the drill work, just to keep the skills sharp. We're noticing some slippage.
Ray Allen for 3. Celtics pouring it on here in the third quarter. The lead balloons to 27.
Getting outscored 17-10 here in this third quarter. Vince Carter was able to knock down a shot there and silence the crowd, but still facing a 25-point deficit. They got to figure out a way to get it stopped down here. They're cutting off the middle somewhat, but now they got to figure out a way to close out on these shooters and force them into tougher looks.
I'm not sure. Vince Carter trying to suppress a laugh over there, even amidst his team down by 25 after he hit this shot. Carter now has 11 points. They're having a bit of an exchange with Ray Allen. Nate Twistich has looked very good in his first game here in Boston as a Celtic. 10 points now for Kristich.
Something that the Suns have done really well in their recent winning streak has been the ball movement, and that's what you're seeing from the Celtics tonight. There's a good penetrating pitch to Grant Hill, and he knocks down the outside shot. Was that a 3-point shot? Sure was. The Suns have knocked down 8 of 15 3-point shots. It's been some of those other shots in between that have been alive.
7th assist for Steve Nash, who now needs just 20 more to pass Isaiah Thomas, 6th all-time. Kristich tracked down that offensive rebound, but saved it over to Grant Hill. Where Todd wants to come in at the next break. It will be a timeout, so he'll head back to the Suns bench. Steve Nash picked up by Garnett. Look at KG clapping his hands, pulling up the shorts. Vince Carter, scoop shot past Kristich, just rolls off. And now here comes Rajon Rondo. Kevin Garnett, all sorts of antics defensively in that exchange with Nash, and Ray Allen pumps home another 3. It was getting ugly here at TD Garden for the Suns. Grant Hill, pull up Jay, trying to silence the crowd somewhat. Enjoying a little bit of payback against the Phoenix Suns, who have won 3 in a row. Pierce splits the defenders. Rondo to Kevin Garnett. Celtics having all sorts of fun at the expense of the Phoenix Suns. Timeout, Alvin Gentry. Now, it's one thing for the fans to rub it in the stands. It's another thing when you remember the Celtics on the floor, as they're tending to do here in the third quarter.
Nobody better in the NBA than getting out in transition and pulling up behind the arc than the leading 3-point king.
29-point now for the Celtics here in the third quarter. Suns 6-man, your Phoenix Suns are waiting for you. This team needs your passion and your commitment. If you haven't renewed yet, there's still time to reserve your seat location at the best prices. Renew at my6man.com or call 602-514-5444. Well, Scotty, no question, this is a very confident and cocky group that they have in Boston. Take a look at Kevin Garnett, isolated defensively against Nash, pulling up the shorts, clapping, talking to him.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan, to tell you quite honestly. I just don't think there's much part in the game for all that. It's easy to do that when things are going well for you, but you know, when they don't go his way, he seems to go the opposite direction. And that's when you saw some of those plays in Phoenix, where he's hitting guys low and trying to hurt guys by stepping underneath them. He's been a fierce competitor, but sometimes when he gets on this court, he doesn't always keep that managed.
Ejected in that game in Phoenix. Vince Carter looking for Marcin Gortat, but KG's had numerous flare-ups over the years, and especially this season too. He caught Nahara with an elbow, and then Nahara told him, Eddie Nahara was playing for Charlotte, that KG hits like my grandma.
Oh no, two Suns down here. I think it's
Channing Frye is down along with Vince Carter. As it was an inbounds play, and the two of them crashing into each other, and they are both still down on the floor. Well, as if this game could get any uglier for the Suns.
I'm not sure exactly. It seemed like something out of that inbound. They were going to cut different directions, and some miscommunication. Carter seems to be nodding that he's okay. He's not out on his feet, but Aaron Nelson, the head athletic trainer, is going to take a look at him. We're going to have to take a break.
We'll be back from Boston here in the third quarter. Phoenix Suns basketball, presented by Casino Arizona, is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Vince Carter still down on the ground, now starting to lean forward. He was face down on the ground, then rolled over onto his back, and now being attended to not only by Aaron Nelson of the Suns training staff, but also doctors here in Boston. Here's what happened on that inbounds play.
Oh, okay. He's coming across, I think, to set a pick for Channing Frye. Channing Frye leads with his head to come out of that stacked set and catches Carter.
It almost appeared that he had lost consciousness when he was face down on the floor, and have to be so careful nowadays with concussions, and I'm sure the Suns will be very careful with Vince Carter as they move forward and trying to find out exactly how severe this head injury is for Vince. See if he's going to head to the locker room. I believe he is here at TD Garden. Yeah, head-on collision between Vince and Channing Frye here. 4:53 to go in the third quarter.
Well, 6 seconds to shoot on the shot clock. Obviously, Alvin Gentry was concerned about his star there going off to the locker room, but it also has to figure out a way to manage this game and understands that, being down 30 on the road against a good team, maybe not be able to win this basketball game, but leave the stars out there, get some subs out there, try to make sure they can try to get some confidence in finishing this game, because we still have two important games left on this road trip before heading home.
Shot clock was winding down, so Jared Dudley, who comes in for Vince Carter, had to force up that shot. Glenn Davis, 8 points in the first half off the bench, and the rebound to Hakeem Warren. And a couple of substitutions out of that timeout. 4.5 to go here in the third. Nash navigating the lane, gets it over now to Grant Hill. Pull-up jump shot for 2, and the board to Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett has been in control of this game from the start. 26 points and 8 rebounds. The Celtics are still shooting 61% from the floor, and out rebounding the Suns by 12. Ray Allen runs over Marcin Gortat. An offensive foul on Allen.
Yeah, that's a good play by the big man. He taught to cut that baseline off by taking your foot closest to the baseline and sticking it right towards that out of bounds line. And you can see right there, just giving Allen no space as his foot's inches from that baseline and has to charge right over him. Those are one of those good plays that just picks everybody up. Like you say, this is a tough game to come back and win, but little things like that now start to establish better principles defensively.
Gortat fouled on that pass off by Paul Pierce. I was talking to Mark Shin before the game, and he had talked about, the strategy against the Celtics, trying to play faster and quicker. And then he said, against Kevin Garnett, you try to sit on him, not literally, but be physical, and then he would create more for others. And Gortat went on to say, KG will try some dirty moves from time to time, but you need to anticipate it and be twice as strong and twice as quick. As Nash now, once again, one-on-one against Kevin Garnett. Hands it off to Gortat. 20-footer from the baseline. Tipping is Jared Dudley.
Second chance points. I hate to say it, but those are the first second chance points of the game. And it comes from Jared Dudley, one of the most unlikely guys, going in there amongst the trees and tapping that thing back in.
On the dish. Foul against the Suns. You're right, first, second chance points. And the Suns now with Jared Dudley picking up his first personal after he just hit his first shot. A lot of friends here coming over from Boston College. And Kevin Garnett, with the Suns in the penalty situation, will have a couple of free throws. It's his first two. He's 12 of 14 from the field.
You wonder about Doc Rivers asking Kendrick Perkins for a loan. You think a lot of those guys are from Boston College came over to ask Jared Dudley for a loan? Has he signed a big deal before the start of this season?
Wouldn't doubt it. There's Doc Rivers, Alvin Gentry's wardrobe, courtesy of the Clothery at the Biltmore Fashion Park. Alvin has not gotten what he hoped for from the Suns before this game. Trying to match the physicality and the intensity of the Celtics. And Kevin Garnett adding to his point total. 28 now for KG. Comes in averaging 15 points per game.
Yeah, it really has been Rondo and the Roughnecks tonight. This starting group has been fantastic. You mentioned the 28 for Garnett, but Rondo's got 10 assists, and feeding all those guys up, all but one starter in double figures.
Dudley selling that call, flailing with the arms, as Troy Murphy will come in for the first time here in the second half. Making his debut as a Celtic, and quickly to the scorer's table, Aaron Brooks. You see an excellent acting ability of former Boston College Eagle. Hey, look at Garnett, though, and the Celtics, when they have a healthy KG, they made it to the 2008 finals, winning the title. When he was injured, they went out early in the playoffs, and then he was back healthy again last year, and they made it to the finals again before bowing out to the Lakers in 7 games. Had that injured knee in 08 and 09 as Dudley dips and connects at the line. Jared Dudley now. A couple of free throws, 4 points off the bench for the Suns, trailing by 28.
Remember, it was Kendrick Perkins last year that was hurt during that Lakers series, and he wasn't able to finish that out in game number 7 as he had that knee injury. So it's just kind of interesting to me that the one piece that they were missing, they kept up from winning the championship. In my opinion, they traded away.
That is the sentiment of a lot of people here in Boston. They picked up an extremely talented player in Jeff Green, and a very serviceable center in Nenad Kristic. Aaron Brooks, deep for 3. He pumps it home, trying to give the Suns some life here in the third.
Good to see Mr. Brooks step out behind that arc now. It's 2 3-point shots he's made in this game, and his Suns have been red hot from behind the arc, shooting over 50% from behind the arc, but it's been the
2-point shots that have hurt.
Well, they've had tough twos. All the twos have been tough twos. Not a whole lot of points in the paint. A lot of times, this team has gotten 48 to 60 points in the paint. I mean, they're sitting on 12 points in the paint tonight.
You talk about the 3-point shooting. The Suns now have downloaded 9 threes, 56% from far away, only 30% from the 2-point variety. Loss in Phoenix, up by 25 here in the third. As we check tonight's Suns.com promo calendar, meet Jared Dudley Wednesday, March 9th at Santisi Brothers Pizzeria and Sports Grill, located at the northwest corner of Bell Road and I-17. Stop by Riverview Toyota at the 202 and Dobson in Mesa this Sunday between 12 and 1:30 p.m. You can enter to win a brand new Prius or brand new Tacoma. Suns dancers will also be there signing autographs. And on Saturday, you can catch up with the Suns Gorilla and Suns dancers from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Checker O'Reilly store at Ocotillo and Arizona Avenue in Chandler. Buy a $20 gift card and get a pair of tickets to the Suns game on March 8th. For more great Suns offers, visit suns.com/promotions. When the Suns come home, they do take on Goran Dragic and the Houston Rockets. And follow inside on Phoenix with 2:13 to go here in the third. Skylights update the Western Conference playoff race for the Phoenix Suns. I mentioned they come into this game one behind number 7 Portland and number 8 Memphis. Denver just recently losing Gallinari, Danilo Gallinari. He's out at least a week with a broken toe. They're in at number 5. New Orleans has been in a tailspin. They've been on a roller coaster ride all season long. Portland has just picked up Gerald Wallace for the stretch run. And number 8 Memphis, 16-point win over the San Antonio Spurs last night. The Spurs now without Tony Parker for 2 to 4 weeks because of his calf injury. And then you have number 10 Utah. They are just 1-5 under their new head coach Tyrone Corbin. And trying to move up in the West right now. 4 games over 500. They turn it over, and here comes Ray Allen. All alone, uncontested for the slam.
That kind of sums up the way the things have been happening for our Phoenix Suns tonight. Just kind of a lackadaisical with the basketball on that elbow area, and then turns it over to Mikal Pietrus, fighting hard against the defender. He did put a lot of ball pressure. Guy who's not a great ball handler, and he coughs it up.
Ray Allen has 16 points, 6 of 10 from the field, and the easy 2, blindsiding Hakeem Warren, just not protecting the basketball.
Yeah, that's one of those things that you lose your focus, you lose your concentration out here when you get out on the road. You get outside that laboratory, you're not able to practice and keep guys' skills fresh and sharp and mentally into the basketball game. We've just kind of seen everything unravel here in this game for Phoenix tonight. There's a lack of opportunity to get in that lab and work. 21 fast break points for Boston, only 3 for the Suns. Dudley buries the 3. The Suns have been excellent from far away. That is now their 10th three-point hit. I mean, you hit 10 threes in a game, and you're still trailing by 25? Yeah, and that is one of those areas where a three-point shot, even though you might sound crazy, it's like a free throw. And the free throws when you're out on the road, they'll be the last thing to leave you. Your free throw shooting, because you shoot the most for those. And a three-point shot uncontested is like a long free throw. So it's pretty obvious that they would shoot those at a higher percentage.
Now the Celtics are so good here at home this season. Ray Allen and company 25-5 at TD Garden. That's the 3rd best home record in the NBA. Best record overall at home. San Antonio 28-2. 45 seconds to go here in the 3rd. Aaron Brooks, lightning quick, gets past Avery Bradley. Finds Jared Dudley. 3 for 3. Knocks down another.
And a nice job by Mr. Brooks, working hard, because he was getting some pressure there by Bradley to try to keep him out of that painted area. And he went around a couple screens and finally got that ball below the free throw line to get the defense to collapse. 3rd assist for Mr. Brooks. And there's Jared Dudley pulling it away from Glenn Davis. Dudley always playing 110%, the ultimate cliche, but it is true with Jared Dudley. It doesn't matter if it's practice, a pickup game in the summertime, or when they're getting a beat down in Beantown. Yeah, he's got his buddies here. I'm not going to get embarrassed. Maybe we might take an L, but I'm going to go out here and fight for everything I got. We talked about the 2 threes he just knocked down. He's got himself 10 points. He's got a couple steals. So he's out here fighting. He's going to fight to the end of the 4th quarter. How many comebacks has he stirred up for the Suns this season? He's done it before, and he can cut the lead to 20. And that, you say to and 20, that's actually pretty down good. For 29. Yes, so I know. That's almost a 10-point deficit, or a third of where they were. So it is a significant dip in their lead. It just sounds funny when you say cut it to 20. Slicing 9 points off of that lead. Final seconds, 3rd quarter. Good defense from Aaron Brooks, forcing the miss, and now a loose ball foul with just 0.9 seconds to go. Yeah, and that's going to put him on the line. That'll be the 5th team foul, and Mark Chin's going to walk on down here and shoot some freebies. 9/10 of a second to go. The foul and free throws coming for the Suns, and Marcin Gortat. You saw that look by Doc Rivers. He said, "What are you doing to me, young fella? You're going to give me a heart attack over here." He can rest comfortable in the fact that they're up 20 points and still got a fresh group on to be able to rest his starters. if the Suns can't cut into that lead some more. I just like the way this group played. We mentioned the big numbers that they had in New Jersey, 50-plus points in that ball game off the bench from this group. I like to see them guys come out here and still continue to play at the high level in which they did in that game against Jersey.
Well, the Phoenix Suns, a 9-0 run to end this third quarter, led by that man, Jared Dudley. And they finished the third quarter outscoring the Boston Celtics 13-3. 91-72 Boston, heading to the fourth and final quarter. You're watching Suns basketball, presented by Casino Arizona. Suns wound up outscoring the Celtics 30-29 in that third quarter. The defensive play is brought to you by right guard. Never get caught off guard. And it's Gortat and Dudley, the tag team effort on Glenn Davis inside.
Yeah, with Tiger's blood and Adonis DNA, Jared Dudley's done a nice job of coming down and getting that basketball. Winning.
What was that comparison? The Adonis?
Yeah, Charlie Sheen said he got Tiger's blood and Adonis DNA, and I think Jared Dudley put some of that on display right there. Hey, if Charlie Sheen can have it, then Jared Dudley can have it too, right?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Charlie's having his problems the last couple of days. He needs to stop talking to the media. 91-72, and the fourth quarter begins with Hakeem Warwick at the line. So the Suns scored the last 9 points of the third period, and now a couple of free throws. Hakeem makes it a 10-0 run. Channing Frye sustaining an eye contusion. Vince Carter a mouth laceration. Both players will not return after the head-on collision between the two teammates in the third quarter. Pack knocks them both down. The Suns have scored 11 in a row. This is a 17-point game.
Yeah, you remember how good they were playing in New Jersey in the second half, and Alvin Gentry took them out of the game. He went back to their starters, and the starters were actually, they ran into the perfect storm, I think, with Nash fouling a three-pointer and Graham with a 5-second violation.
And Jared Dudley
I tell you, that's that
pulling it away.
Blood.
Another steal for the Suns defense and Jared Dudley. Could the Suns make a miraculous move here in the second half? Three-pointer deposited by Michael Petrus. Timeout Doc Rivers and the Celtics. 14-point game on a 14-0 run.
Yeah, that's a great job by this bench, re-energizing this team. It's a good feeling when these guys can step up here and provide that kind of energy and momentum.
Tremendous determination and effort from the Suns, trailing by 29, and back they come late in the third, here early in the fourth. This is getting interesting here in Boston. 14 unanswered Suns points in just over 2 minutes. The Drive is brought to you by Checker O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices, better parts every day. Steve Nash doing his thing.
Yeah, here in Harvard, I see one of those eggheads do that. That was a great job. Not even Zuckerberg figured out how Steve Nash got that basketball in the hole.
Maybe a little fist pump from Michael Petrus coming out of that timeout. Totally different feel for the Suns team right now. Brooks, Petrus, Hakeem Warwick, Gortat, and Jared Dudley on the floor coming out of the timeout. Doc Rivers brings back a couple of his starters in Rondo and Pierce, who is bumped and fouled by Michael.
Now Pierce is a faker, and he's got a good utilization of that pump fake, keep guys in the air, and then he puts those big shoulders into him and has a knack of getting himself to the foul line. But you see Doc got a little nervous, and he did get a couple of his starters up off that bench.
Kevin Garnett is still there with his 28 points. Troy Murphy, who was just signed yesterday by this team. And Jeff Green. Sandwich by Petrus and Hakeem Warwick. Looked like he may have traveled. Gets it inside. Murphy is sent away by Gortat, and the shot clock blows up on Boston. Stellar defense from the Suns.
Thank you. They got in that double team, but it's not just a double team. They are putting pressure on that ball handler right here. All up there, chest to chest, body to body, and then a nice job by Gortat coming out of that mid area back to the basket, protecting the rim.
Fourth block shot for the Suns tonight. Aaron Brooks has only had one shoot-around in terms of practice time with this Suns squad since coming over the trade from Houston. Hakeem Ward, straight but strong. Boy, looked good from here. He was right on line. Run out, Troy Murphy. Going up Petrus, and another block from Marcin Gortat.
You see that rust on Murphy's game.
Second straight deletion by Marcin. And now in the corner, the foul will, I believe, go on Glenn Davis.
How great has Gortat been in this basketball game? I mean, this is really a phenomenal defense. You got the 9 points, the 9 rebounds, and when you need to get some stops, when you're clawing back from behind, you get a couple big raceaways. Good job defensively.
Now, Julie Fye and the Suns media relations staff handed me this. Suns overcame a 29-point deficit, the largest in franchise history, to beat Boston 110-106 here in Boston, December 5th, 2003.
Can they do it again?
Trailed by 29 here tonight. Petrus, deep three, pressured by Jeff Green. Troy Murphy, an excellent rebounder. Gets it up ahead now to Paul Pierce. Pierce kind of spin free of Dudley, hits the floor and tripped up. I think that might be Gortat picking up the personal, and it will be. Suns defense overplaying everything, led by Dudley and Michael Petrus, really bringing energy in off the bench.
Well, that's what I like, though. I make these guys play in a crowd. That's what they didn't have. They didn't have any ball pressure. The Celtics had one turnover for most of the entire first half of that ball game. And finally seeing the Suns getting after these guys, trapping them, rotating.
Look at Jared Dudley even pressuring Rajon Rondo. Shot clock down to 5. Aaron Brooks strips it away from Paul Pierce. Suns with a 3-on-1. Brooks over to Jared Dudley for jam number 5.
Oh my goodness, 2 jams on this road trip.
And a 16-0 run by the Suns. 12-point game. All of a sudden, very quiet here in Boston.
Yeah, and Doc Rivers says enough of that. I'm getting my 2 Hall of Famers, Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett, back in this game at the next did ball. But credit these Suns out here, the hard-working bench bunch.
The Celtic fans are stunned. They're in shock right now.
Phoenix fouls on number 0, Aaron
Foul on Aaron Brooks on the pass. Look back, it's Brooks with the defense right up in the jersey of Paul Pierce.
Yeah, that's a nice job right there. He tries to play that basketball over the top of Brooks's head, and then Brooks just really quick and getting that his hand on the ball. This is one of the biggest things I thought he would provide, is that on-the-ball pressure for the Suns, creating some opportunities for breakouts, just like we witnessed.
Jared Dudley had only 1 point in the first half. He has 13 now in the second half for the Suns. 5 on the shot clock. Ray Allen back in the game. Down the lane. That shot was deflected. Gortat was there and took a shot to the midsection.
10 boards now for Gortat.
12-point game. Gortat puts it in. It's a 10-point game. 18-0 run for the Suns. What are we seeing here tonight in Boston? Suns appear to be counted out. Had 2 players that were nearly knocked out in the third quarter. Inside, Davis blocked from behind by Hakeem Ward, then misses inside. And finally a foul will go on either Ward or Marcin Gortat. So a couple of free throws for Glenn Davis to try to end this run by the Suns.
Very impressive way the Suns have swarmed to the basket. I mean, this is blocking shots. This is all hands on deck, whether it's your guy or someone else's guy. Get down there and help out. We've seen Gortat do it a couple of times. That time Ward flying from a wing, swatting a shot away. And you're right, Gortat took a shot. He's kind of bent over in a funny way down there, holding that midsection right about the belly button. Maybe got a slight little tear or pull.
So that Suns run will come to an end. 18 unanswered points by Phoenix. And then a couple free throws for Glenn Davis. Good free throw shooter for a big man, 75%. 12-point game with all sorts of time left. 8:15 to go here in the fourth. Alvin Gentry said he regretted not leaving his bench players in the game in New Jersey. I don't think he'll make the same mistake here. Petrus in the corner, picked up by Ray Allen. Warren defended by Davis. Pump fake, tries to power in on the big baby, and the rebound at Garnett. His pass intercepted by Brooks. Brooks wanting to pass to Ward, instead puts it in off the glass. He changed his mind in midair.
I love that right there. Hanging back in that passing lane area, getting a steal. Easy bucket. Look at him up on Rondo. Just pestering the ball handler.
That was a sensational shot by Aaron Brooks. Had every intention of passing that ball. Ray Allen couldn't connect. It was Jared Dudley closing out defensively.
Yeah, you see how small that rim starts to get for these Celtics shooters. They're free to fire when they're up 20-plus points. Now the game starts to get down to single digits, 10 points, get a little nervous.
And then the floater from Aaron Brooks. The lead is down to 8. Alvin Gentry and the Suns bench all standing, pumping their fists.
They love it. Part of a 22-2 push for this bench group. There's no quit in these Phoenix Suns.
Rondo knocks down the jump shot. Suns will live with that. They just want to try to keep him from penetrating the lane. Back to a 10-point Boston lead.
Yeah, keep him from getting everybody else involved. When the Celtics were going their best, it was Rondo creating everything for everybody else, and especially Garnett and Allen.
Third personal on Kevin Garnett. Second team foul on Boston. The next one for the Suns will put them over the limit. Phoenix already with 14 fouls here in the fourth. Aaron Brooks in double figures off the bench. 10 points, 5 assists. Dudley has 14, Gortat with 11. So 3 more bench players in double figures scoring. They had 4 in New Jersey. And they had 64 points off the bench. Brooks turned it over. For the Suns, that is now their 10th turnover tonight. Boston 0-5 from the field until Rajon Rondo hit that jump shot. And a couple of free throws from Glenn Davis, and now Rondo sets up Kristich. Good look from Rajon Rondo, who has picked up his 11th assist.
That's all set up by Kevin Garnett, making sure that that pick occurs right at that free throw line. Team Warriors got to push him up higher, make that play start further from the basket.
Dudley out to Gortat, wide open from 20 feet, spins off. Tough break for Phoenix, and the board goes to Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce has now pulled down 11 rebounds. Lead all players in that category, actually tied with Gortat, who has 11. Gortat with yet another double-double, 11 points, 11 rebounds. That's his 12th double-double of the season. Rondo left alone, nobody in the same zip code, but couldn't drill it. Dudley clears it up ahead now to Aaron Brooks, scanning the floor. Boston 1 of 7 shooting here in the fourth quarter. Ward driving on Kristich, gets a step and forces him to reach in for the foul.
Nice play that time by Ward. Sets a little brush screen. It's all he needs for his man to go with Brooks, and then he's able to take up the slack and recover. And then Ward takes him hard to the basket.
Once down 29, dead in the water, back have come the Suns, trailing by 12 here in the fourth. Laser Pass, sponsored by Schwartz Laser Eye Centers, teamidoc.com. See the best that you can see. Part of the Suns' 18-0 run. AB to JD.
Yeah, the spark plug, Aaron Brooks, has really come off this bench, did a nice job, 10 points, 5 assists. And Jared Dudley, we talked about how hard he was working on the defensive end. He's also got it going on the offensive end as well. Knocking down a couple threes. He's got 14 points and 4 rebounds.
So since the Suns and Jared Dudley trail by 29 points, they have outscored the Celtics 26-9. 45 now from the Suns bench. And they can add to that with Hack at the stripe. Suns bench once again doing the job. 45, 46 points and 52% shooting from the field. Meantime, their starters, they're being outscored by the bench players. Starters have scored 40, shooting only 34% from the field. And remember, the Suns will go the rest of the way without Channing Frye and without Vince Carter. 1 of 2 for Hakeem Warren.
Interesting to see that Alvin Gentry did not come back with Nash at that timeout break. He's leaving Aaron Brooks out there to see if he can rally these guys all the way to the final horn with a victory.
This is the group that has put them in position to try to steal this game. Paul Pierce for 3. Too deep. And another rip from Marcin Gortat.
And a nice box out of Ward. Kevin Garnett was really bent on trying to get that board.
Look at the quickness of Aaron Brooks and the soft touch. Aaron Brooks having his best game as a member of the Phoenix Suns. 12 points and 5 assists.
Yeah, this is the first time we've been in single digits since I don't know how long. And Aaron Brooks has been able to get this guy's off and running and scoring in a quick way. Look at that, shooting 60%, just 2 of 10 for the Celtics.
The activity of Michael Petras. He saw Kristich flash free and then leaped at him, committed the foul, and the Suns in the penalty situation the rest of the way. 3 team fouls, meantime, on Boston. And it'll be Nenad Kristich, an 80% free throw shooter. First 2 games with Boston, averaged 10 points, a little over 5 rebounds, coming over from Oklahoma City and drains the first. Comes over with Jeff Green for Kendrick Perkins and Nate Robinson. We will see Nate Robinson, final game of this road trip on Sunday, but not Kendrick Perkins. He's out a couple of weeks with a knee sprain.
He's counting his money, isn't he?
Yes, he is, after signing that new extension. Kristich went 1 of 2. It's a 10-point game. Inside of 4.5 minutes to go here in the fourth. He's trying to move over the 500 mark on the road. They're 14 and 14 right now. That pass was intended for Jared Dudley. Warwick got his hands on it. And now it's Ray Allen for 3.
He knocked it down. I was saying if he misses that, he plays right into the Suns' hands by taking a quick shot, allowing the Suns more time to operate. But he knocks it down. That's a huge three-point shot. How many times have we seen him do that out of that left corner?
Lifting his team and lifting the crowd. Putting a charge into TD Garden inside. Brooks creates for Hakeem Ward. Bucket and 1. Chance at a 3-point play.
Yeah, Nenad Kristich was riding right up underneath Hakeem Warwick, and the Wire was somehow able, from having his body pushed up underneath the rim, still be able to plastic himself back out in front of the rim with those long arms and get it in. Now we got to see him go to the free throw line and make this. He made 1 or 2 last trip, needs this one here.
That's the 5th personal on Nenad Kristich, and they're short on big men. With Shaq and Jermaine O'Neal both out with injuries. Oh, he can't complete the 3-point play. Tough break for the Suns and Hack, who's now 3 of 5 free throw shooting. 7 points, 4 boards off the bench for Warwick. 101-90, and then taking a hit off the chest was Hakeem Warwick. An offensive foul on Kevin Garnett.
Oh, that's beautiful. Another
That's
turnover.
his 4th. That's number 4 on KG.
Another turnover for the Suns, an opportunity to score here and not have to give up any real time or any free throw opportunities for the Celtics there. It's Aaron Brooks. Look at him. Feeding again.
Zips it into Gortat, who went to the left hand, but he's fouled on the release. And 2 free throws coming up for Marcin Gortat. All set up by the quickness, the speed, and the vision of Aaron Brooks.
Yeah, I like that one right there. You know, you get that ball down that free throw line area, the big's got to pick you up because he doesn't want to give up the easy lanes. Big Baby he falls to the floor and takes somebody down with him, and you can see Paul Pierce come over and nails him with the body. 71% shooter from the line.
Nails the first. Kristich, 5 fouls, 4 on Garnett, 4 fouls on Paul Pierce. Fox Sports Arizona brings you the games that matter most and is proud to be the local television home of the Phoenix Suns. And for even more information about the Suns, log on to foxsportsarizona.com. We have seen an astounding comeback by the Suns here in the second half. Down 29 at one point, now within 9. 101-92, 3.5 minutes to go.
Plenty of time in this game. He's got to keep doing it right here on this side of the floor defensively. Nice show out there by Ward.
And then the pass deflected on the hand of Aaron Brooks. Shot clock is down to 5, down to 4. Rondo on the move, splits the defenders, goes glass. The rebound goes off of Glenn Davis. Gortat was there, scrapping for the board, and the Suns will have it. Suns are shooting 64% from the field here in the fourth quarter. Meantime, the Celtics can't buy a bucket. They're outside of that 3 from Ray Allen. They have struggled to score in this period. 3 of 12 shooting. Nearing the 3-minute mark. Aaron Brooks goes the dribble. He was looking for Petras. The bounce pass goes untouched, out of bounds. A costly turnover for Phoenix.
And that's one like the last play where the miscommunication between going to Warwick and Dudley, not having that chemistry. Aaron Brooks wasn't quite sure what his teammate was going to do on that play because they just had not had any time to practice together. I keep going back to it, but you know, really obvious on that possession.
Rondo over to Paul Pierce, drives past Hakeem Ward. Goes up and in. Paul Pierce, that's a big bucket here late in the fourth quarter. Paul Pierce has only taken 7 shots tonight. He's hit 5. Aaron Brooks on the fade, drills it right in the heart for Aaron Brooks.
They said, well, I'm not quite sure what my teammates will do, but I know I'm capable of knocking down some big shots. And Didn't want to risk a turnover on that pick and roll situation. Got some room to fire and took advantage of it.
Aaron Brooks has not missed a shot tonight. He's a perfect 6 of 6 from the floor and 2 of 2 from far away. The foul on Jared Dudley, and that hurts here in the fourth because the Suns are over the limit. Free throws coming for the Celtics, but a sensational game tonight for Aaron Brooks. Suns were eyeing another season sweep of the Boston Celtics. They did it last year, and trailing by 9 here late in the fourth quarter. Time for tonight's Flyby, sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book a business select fare at southwest.com and fly through airport lines with Flyby priority lane access. Jared Dudley, Scott, he's halfway home to 10 jams this season.
Look at all Connie Hawkins right there, taking off and throwing her down.
Part of that Suns bench that is punched in for 54 points, 5 blocks, and shooting 56% from the field. Aaron Brooks, a perfect 6 of 6 shooting.
Yeah, they're winning the battle this second half, and can they come back all the way? That's going to be the question. Can they get that ball pressure to get the Celtics to cough it up a couple more times? And I believe they'll need a couple threes down the stretch as well, and that won't be a problem. They've been shooting lights out from behind the arc.
Steve Nash, Grant Hill, spectators here in the fourth quarter, watching their bench partners do the job, bring them back from 29 down. 8 points, 7 assists for Nash in 27 minutes of play. Grant Hill has only played 25 minutes. Here's Sticks the first.
Yeah, 85% shooter, and Ray Allen a great free throw shooter as well.
Oh, and then the offensive rebound for Glenn Davis. That's a break for the Celtics off the hustle from Big Baby. Suns needed that rebound, 10-point game, and then Aaron Brooks with the foul on Rajon Rondo with 2:09 to go.
Yeah, Albert Gentry wanted him to commit that foul. He got a great free throw shooter. Only shoots 54% from the free throw line. So if he gets his hands on it, better he go to the line than a guy like Paul Pierce or a Ray Allen.
A little hack of Rondo, just over the 2-minute mark, and Rajon nails the first. A couple summers ago, his general manager Danny Ainge saying that Rajon needed to grow up. Well, he has. He has matured into one of the top point guards in the NBA. Think about how he has improved his shot. And the guy who was originally drafted by the Suns, another missed free throw, but another offensive rebound off the miss. Pierce with a quick shot, surprisingly. And then Aaron Brooks going after the rebound. How does Aaron Brooks stay on his feet? Big Baby Davis.
Gortat got wrestled up there with Big Baby Davis. So 3 offensive rebounds for the Celtics coming out of that timeout break. It's really going to put a cramp in this Phoenix Suns attempt to be able to come back and win this basketball game. It's got to get those offensive or those defensive rebounds.
5th foul on Marcin. And another missed free throw, the 3rd by the Celtics here in the final couple of minutes of the fourth quarter. Very interested Grant Hill watching as the Celtics now from the free throw line. 17 of 26, 9 misses overall. Davis goes 1 of 2. 12-point lead for Boston. 2 minutes to go here in the fourth. Boston with a 10-6 edge on offensive rebounding. Aaron Brooks bounces off a Big Baby in the foul against Davis.
Yeah, that's going to be, they're over the limit as well. So
clock stops and free throws coming for Brooks.
Yeah, they'll have an opportunity to go to the free throw line and knock some down. There's no better thing when you're trying to come from behind than an opportunity to get to the free throw line, score points, and that clock stays standing still. And Mr. Brooks can go to the line and knock some free throws down. Warwick wasn't able to do it the trip before.
As we update our poll question, the dirtiest shot on a Suns player, and it goes to Robert Horry in a landslide. 76% for the hip check on Steve Nash. I'm kind of surprised.
Really?
Elliott Perry by Karl Malone was pretty nasty.
Well,
it was a few years back, though.
Yeah, that, and I think the one on Nash really cost the Suns an opportunity for a championship. These other ones were dirty. Then one J.R. Reed was regular season, and then once again, fouling Rondo. But the one that everyone remembers is the one where the hip check got Stoudemire and Boris Diaw suspended from the next game and cost the Suns an opportunity to take that series.
Definitely was a tough blow for the Suns. And Nash, 10-point game right now. 2 free throws coming for Rajon Rondo. 1 of 2 at the line. 13 points, 13 assists. He's had some monster assist games this season. At 24 early in the year against New York, and then 23 in a game against Minnesota. Knocks down the first toss. Minute 54 to go. Both teams penalty situation the rest of the way. And 1 of 2, another miss for Boston. This time, Gortat grabs the rebound away from Kevin Garnett. Here comes Aaron Brooks. Not having missed a shot at all. Into the lane, right through the hands of Warwick, but there's Dudley right on the spot. So maintain the possession inside of 10. On the shot clock for Aaron Brooks. The miss, his first of the night. Petrus, offensive rebound, digging in, and he's fouled from behind.
Foul is on number 34.
All right, well, so you don't get the 3, unfortunately, which would have been phenomenal, but going inside, getting the boards, nice job by him, P3. And now he'll go to the line and shoot some free throws with that clock stopped. So as long as you keep extending this game, more opportunities you give yourselves to pull something miraculous out, much like we saw almost with New Jersey be able to come from behind. They were down 8 points and less than a minute coming back and making some big threes and having some things go right on the other end of the floor as well defensively, and got back into that basketball game, even had the lead in overtime. So anything can happen in the NBA. That's why you always tell your guys, keep fighting.
Good to go on the 2 free throws for Petrus. Back to a 9-point game. Suns at the line, 22 of 28. Pressure in the backcourt. They're forced to foul Paul Pierce. So a free throw shooting marathon going on right now between these 2 teams. About 33 to go.
I'm not sure. Alvin Gentry is up right in front of me here, screaming at the Suns players. I wasn't sure if he wanted the foul to be committed in the backcourt, or if he wasn't. Pierce wasn't the guy that he wanted to try to send to the line, but those ticks are so important. You can't afford to waste too much time. You have to try to take a foul when you can. Pierce, we talked about him being an 85% free throw shooter, calmly switches that first one.
Well, Paul Pierce, who no doubt joined the Mount Rushmore of Boston Celtic greats when he was the Finals MVP, calmly hits the 2 free throws, 11-point lead. And Alvin Gentry will burn a timeout, a 20-second timeout. 109-98, a minute 33 to go here in the 4th. Next up for the Suns, game number 5 on this road trip at Milwaukee Friday, and then it's Oklahoma City on Sunday. Again, the Bucks without Bogut, their starting center, Andrew Bogut, who's out with a rib cage injury. Of course, we were there last season when he had that horrific fall on the dunk attempt and shattered his right arm. He's been playing through that, though it's really hurt his shot. He's been awful at the free throw line this year, but playing through a lot of pain. Now a different injury for Bogut, and the Bucks signed one-time Sun Earl Barron. Suns beating the Bucks in the first meeting this season, 92-77. Early February in Phoenix. Bogut didn't play in that game either, and the Suns defense held Milwaukee to just 31% shooting from the field. It's been a struggle all season for Scott Skiles and his Bucks.
Yeah, they struggled last night, getting a tough one against the Detroit Pistons, won by 2 points, finally able to pull that basketball game out of the fire, but they really do struggle home or road.
Dudley into the paint, some contact, and then a late whistle by Tom Washington, and free throws for Jared. That goes on Glenn Davis. That's his 3rd. And remember, Paul Pierce playing with 5, Garnett with 4, and Nenad Krstić, who's out of the game right now, he also has 5.
If the Suns had played with this intensity defensively earlier in the game, this would have been this whole game takes on a whole different complexion as Jared Dudley knocks that one down to cut it to 10. But driving the ball to the basket, and I know that maybe those things weren't presenting themselves as much as they were in the second half, but had they gotten some more points from the line, some more points inside, totally different game.
Dudley splits the 2 free throws, 10-point game. On the run out, the pass is picked off by Michael Petrus, and a loose ball foul on Ray Allen. That was a dreadful pass to make. The Suns anticipated with Michael Petrus in the front court, and then the quick foul on Ray Allen.
Well, with Petrus can go to the line and make these 2 free throws, it'll be the first time the Suns have been within 8 points since early in that first quarter. But nice job. That's what I say. Anything can happen on these long, risky passes. He's got 1 minute and 17 seconds, down 8. I like that. I like that.
Petrus very consistent for the Suns off the bench. He's scored double figures 5 of the last 6 games. And misses the first. He had a chance to do it if he knocks down the 2 free throws. He's working on the 8th.
Yeah, as a big guy, we always say, hey, don't miss the first one, miss the second one. Because even if you don't want to miss any, but at least we have an opportunity to get an offensive rebound off the second miss.
Suns have missed 8 free throws tonight. And the pressure in the backcourt will force Rajon Rondo to call a timeout. Couldn't find an open teammate that he wanted to toss it to. Doc Rivers uses the TO. A minute 17 to go. This game's still up in the air. 9-point lead for Boston. After they led by 29, the Suns had an 18-0 run, led by their bench players. 16 for Brooks, 15 for Dudley, 13 for Marcin Gortat. A lot of movement around the NBA of late. A lot of players who had their contracts bought out, including Mike Bibby out of the U of A and Shadow Mountain, bought out by Washington. Expected to sign with the Miami Heat, and his brother-in-law Eddie House. Of course, Troy Murphy here in Boston. Al Thornton was bought out as well by the Washington Wizards. Possibility that he could wind up in Golden State. Corey Brewer, very interesting. The Celtics wanted him as well. Not just Troy Murphy, but also Corey Brewer, who was a lottery pick from Minnesota, was traded to New York in that Carmelo Anthony, Chauncey Billups deal. Waived by the Knicks, and right now, though, expected to sign a 2-year contract with Dallas. And Jared Jeffries bought out by Houston and could be returning to New York to play with the Knicks.
A lot of movement we've seen since the All-Star break, and I think some teams have really helped themselves by adding pieces for playoff pushes, and some others have helped themselves by freeing up cap space for future years.
Best thing for Troy Murphy, signing with the Boston Celtics. Troy Murphy has gone his entire career without making it into the playoffs. 640 career games now for Troy Murphy, and not once has tasted the postseason. That's the longest drought of any active player. And he said before the game, one of the major reasons he chose Boston, or he could have chosen Miami, was to get into the playoffs. Little back cut to Paul Pierce. They find him open, and the easy 2 for Paul Pierce from the Celtics. Back up by 11. Pierce now with 16 points. All 5 Celtic starters in double figure scoring, led by Garnett's 28. Dudley, deep 3. Couldn't dial it in. And that one appeared like it may have gone off of Ray Allen, though instead they say it's Hakeem Ward with 1:01 to go.
Well, the layup and the missed opportunity for points at this end may be too much now on a minute to play for the Phoenix Suns to come back from. They don't want to follow Pierce, but boy, the clock is ticking away.
They don't have much of a choice. Although now it's Rondo, had it briefly and finds Glenn Davis for the jam. Alvin Gentry will call the timeout, but then Glenn Davis injured himself coming down off that dunk. That is not good news for the Celtics team, already without Shaquille O'Neal, without Jermaine O'Neal. Delonte West is out with a sprained ankle, and now their other big man, Glenn Davis, is down on the floor. We'll take a timeout. 49 seconds to go here in the 4th. O'Neal's, but also the Celtics having traded Kendrick Perkins to Oklahoma City, losing size inside, and now what appears to be a leg injury for Glenn Davis.
Here it is one more time on this as he elevates. You see, he seems to goes up fine, but you hang on that rim and then he tries to get himself balanced, but he comes down. I think it's when he comes down, it's when he hits that grimace. It's his left leg, and I don't know if it's a knee that got tweaked or an ankle that got tweaked, but he's moving real slow back to that Celtic locker room. And talked about the trading Perkins away, and with O'Neal's being hurt. They still have 24 games left to play, or 23, I guess it is now, after tonight's ball game.
Kristich at the center position. Troy Murphy can play the 4 and the 5. Deep 3 for Petrus. Suns fans, did you know if you're signed up for My Suns Mobile, you'll receive a text alert for 2 free tacos and any Phoenix area Jack in the Box when the Suns score 99 or hold their opponent to 99 or fewer on the road. Boston's going to win this game. despite a tremendous comeback by the Suns and their bench players. That 18-0 run, they pulled to within 9 points, with Boston now up by 13. They won't even take the shot, and 16 seconds to go.
Well, one thing you can take away from this basketball game, though, is that this Phoenix Suns team does have a lot of fight in them. I mean, a lot of teams would have folded tents and lost this thing, and there would never have been any drama down the stretch, but at least they came back and fought. They cut it to 8 points.
Oh, wow. How about this? We've got a technical now on Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett has just picked up a technical foul for some reason. This game decided, only 16 seconds to go, and he was teed up. Wow. And now Doc Rivers, who had his problems with Steve Javie in Phoenix, now discussing things with Eric Lewis. Eric Lewis was the one that teed up Kevin Garnett. Now he's explaining it to Doc Rivers. Well, that's not helping. That's the 10th technical on Kevin Garnett this season. You get to 16, and that's a 1-game suspension. Final seconds here from TD Garden. Petrus takes it in, and another double-figure scoring game for Mike Hell. He now has 11 points. Long pass up ahead to Jeff Green, and they will dribble away the final seconds. Celtics win it here in Boston. Take the final shot, doesn't drop. 113-103. Garnett finishing with 28 points. The Suns, 4 more bench players scoring in double figures.
It's not over.
Really?
They got a foul on it looked like Jared Dudley.
Oh my goodness.
Rajon Rondo did something that a lot of NBA players think is a classless act when you're up by so many points in the game's about to expire. Taking that shot right at the horn, and Jared Dudley does just the right thing by clobbering this guy and saying, no, we ain't playing that style of basket. Knocks him back on his butt.
Nice, Scotty. I couldn't see it from my vantage point. There's some fans standing up here. Some of the players that already stood up, but that was exactly what happened. Some more showboating from the Boston Celtics. We saw it earlier in the game from Kevin Garnett when he was defending Steve Nash, pulling up the shorts, jawing at him. And now Rajon Rondo dancing around, fires up the shot when this game was all but over. And so they're going to take a look at it because they have to determine whether or not it is 3 free throws for Rajon Rondo. Always interesting with the Suns and Celtics.
Interesting to see what Doc Rivers has to say about that. I mean, Doc knows better than that. He played this game and been around this game long enough.
Well, and he had his guys dribbling out the final seconds of the shot clock with 16 seconds still left in the game. He had told his team not to shoot the basketball on the previous possession. They just took the shot clock violation.
Which makes absolutely no sense now. Rondo to come down here and try that. He was going to try to drive the ball to the hole for an easy basket, thinking Dudley was just going to let him go. But you're not going to let a guy just get an easy basket. And certainly, I almost wish he had to let him drive to the basket, catch him up in the air, then knock him underneath the basket into the cameras in the front row. I'd like to see him go up here being a 52% shooter, miss all 3. Wouldn't that be hilarious?
The cockiness and the arrogance of Rajon Rondo. A lot of times there's that necessary arrogance that professional athletes need, but sometimes they also cross over that line. One of the first 2 at the line now for Rajon. 15 points, 15 assists. Suns now will move to 31 and 28 on the year. A couple of free throws for Rajon, and march in, fire it up ahead. And we are done here from TD Garden. Celtics win it 115-103. The Suns now 3-1 on this road trip. The Celtics have won 6 of their last 7 games.
Yeah, they're looking pretty good right now, and the ball movement is crisp, and just trying to get some of these other guys like Green and Murphy acclimated into their lineups. Suns got to figure out a way to come back and get another victory in Milwaukee, but they got to do a better job defensively. Can't allow a team that 38 points in the paint in the first half.
We're back with our player of the game here on My 45 right after this.